Welcome back to the Bradley University podcast. We are your hosts. I am Angie Cooksey. I serve as the Vice President for Enrollment Management, Marketing, and Communications.
And I am Ben Jed. I am AVP of Marketing and Communications.
Ben, I have been thinking a lot about the fact that we get to do this, and I do think it might be one of my favorite parts of the work that we get to do together.
It's both like relaxing and energizing at the same time.
And it goes so fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
we start an episode and then it's like, oh, we have to wrap up.
We learn really cool things about people on campus that we just would
never know.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to teach overseas at some point.
We are still working on that. So if you are listening and you are teaching overseas anytime and you need somebody to come take social photos to help move luggage, I mean, we could
write a press release.
Yeah, could be really.
Or we could teach a class.
We could do that.
We could teach a class.
I am teaching EHS 120 this semester, and it has been so interesting.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've loved it. If you've heard the episodes before, you know that we have a guest on every single show to highlight the amazing people who are in and around the Bradley community. And Ben and I get a chance to just talk to them and learn a little bit about them and their role at Bradley and their background and what they get to do. And so we record live in Hilltop Studios, which is in the lower level of University Hall. A really awesome space for our faculty and our staff and our students to have access to technology. I think it's just one of those many places that are available on campus that maybe sometimes people don't know about. So it's been fun to get to showcase it. And our guest today is Chad Lowell, Interim Chair and Associate Professor of the Department of Communications and Fine Arts.
Theater, right?
Theater, yes.
I was trying to find a pen to write it down quick enough.
So that's Ben. Would you like to introduce our guest today?
No, you did a great job. But he's the interim chair and associate professor of the Department of Theater Arts.
For the record, that is not what Ben put on our thing.
No.
But now Chad's going to tell us that that's not actually right either.
That's not right either. I'm actually the chairperson. It's no longer interim.
So the website is wrong.
Ben, do we know somebody who could fix the website?
Perhaps I know a guy that could do that.
Okay, so this is how our episodes, we warned you at the beginning that we have a general plan and sometimes they go off the rails. So that's how we're going to start.
We're very used to that in the theater department.
Okay, so let's restart that of not for real. I think people need to know that this is what it is.
How life is.
This is how life is, and we learn and we grow, and we will fix the website potentially today.
And I wonder if it says communication.
Did you just read it wrong and write it wrong?
Well, there's a strong possibility that I just read it wrong and wrote it wrong.
Yeah.
But I mean, the interim I definitely got from the website. So anyways, I'm gonna check that out.
But also plug for the website. It's a work in progress.
Yeah. And by the time you hear this, it will be fixed.
It will be fixed. So, Chad Lowell, you are the chairperson for the Department of Theater Arts.
That is correct.
Perfect. Fourth time is the charm. We got there eventually. Thank you so much for joining the show. It has been so fun to get to meet and to talk to, obviously not meet, we obviously know each other, but to talk to people on a little bit different level than sort of the day-to-day things. And so to get started, we'd love to learn a little bit more about your background and your journey to being the chair of your department and kind of what that's looked like.
Great. Yeah, of course. I went to undergrad thinking I wanted to be an actor because that's what I thought theater was, even though I didn't really enjoy acting as much, but I just loved theater so much. And then when I got to undergrad, I learned there's this whole backstage side and design. And once I found that, I never turned back. I got my master's degree in scenic and lighting design.
Oh, cool.
I taught at ISU for 10 years and ran the Illinois Shakespeare Festival as their production manager. And then an opening happened at Bradley, and it was in design and at a smaller, kind of more intimate type of training, which I'm a lot more excited about, and came over here in 2011 as their design faculty member. And then last year started transitioning into as the interim chair last year and full-time chair this year. And we're very excited about the direction we're going.
Yeah.
I was handed a department in really good hands, and we're taking it to the next level, hopefully.
Yeah, for sure.
That's exciting. So you've been at Bradley for some time. What do you love about your job, and what do you think makes Bradley unique?
There's lots of things about it. The things I love about my job is how closely I get to work with my students. The example I always like to share is when I taught stagecraft, so the construction of scenery and stuff like that. I was teaching it to 52 students. So when we got to the section of learning power tools, we had to do that by PowerPoint. Here at Bradley, it's 8 to 12 students. So when it's time to learn about the table saw, we go to the table saw and we take a piece of lumber and we run it through there. And that's for all of our classes. They're very close, very intimate kind of training. And I think that's what's needed for theater artists, to get that really small teacher student ratio, and the growth of the students and the connections that we have is just so much stronger here than I've had at any other institution.
And I mean, I think we see that all the time. You all just had some young alumni come back that are doing really amazing things and provide some hands-on experiences for our current students. And so what does that look like for you all? Is not only are you fostering students while they're here, but also I think you guys stay really connected with your alumni after they graduate and are doing some amazing things.
Yeah, we have such amazing alums, and their love for Bradley is so true. The example you gave was Morgan Green,
She's amazing.
Who's unbelievable. Yes, she graduated about 10 years ago. I luckily overlapped her for 2.5 years of her time here. And she contacted me to say, I'd love to come back. And I've got this friend who's a 2-time Tony Award Pulitzer Prize winner. Could I bring him along?
Just casually.
Could I bring him? Would you mind?
Right. So Michael R. Jackson, the composer and lyricist for A Strange Loop, who got the Pulitzer in drama for that and won Best Tony for Best Musical as well as Best Score. And Morgan Green came in for a one-night performance, and they did a workshop with our students where they got to work. And Morgan was in the first national tour of Hadestown, and was in the original cast of Be More Chill, and is just a go-getter in New York and knows all these people and connections. And this was just the beginning of our partnership with her. I have an alum, Andrew Coleman, who is the producer at Stages St. Louis, who wants to come back. He refuses to take any money from us, any kind of pay or hotel. He says, I just want to come back and teach your students about art administration. And so he'll be here in late November.
Oh, cool. Speaking of teaching, what is your favorite class to teach?
My favorite class is the J term in London.
See?
I told you,
somebody
right?
can take us.
There you go. Yeah,
London. We could be very helpful.
What class do you teach in London?
I teach a class simultaneous theater appreciation class, which is a fine arts BCC, as well as a majors level class. So,
would you like to do a podcast in January with us?
In London.
I
would
love it. Absolutely. We'll figure out the time change.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm in. One of the reasons
we don't
it's my
have to
favorite
figure out
class
the time
is
change. We could bring this to you.
Yeah, we will bring this to you.
In London.
Oh, perfect. Even better. Yes.
And we'd be happy to teach a class if you needed us to.
We bring very little to the table there,
but just to see these students' lives being changed by being in probably the theater capital of the world is amazing. Do you want to be on campus and hear and learn from some of our best teachers, or do you want to go to London for 2 weeks and experience theater? We go to Stratford upon Avon. We do 3 backstage tours. We typically go to 6 different productions, walking tours of the city. 6 different museums. It's an awesome experience.
That's fantastic. What would you so there's a million different choices a senior in high school can have if they want to go into theater, right? What would you tell a student that is choosing between Bradley and other schools why they should come here?
Well, one of the things that I think we do uniquely, I think most theater training programs are going to have the courses that you need.
For sure.
If you're in design, you have these sequence. If you're in acting, you have this sequence. One of the things that we add to this is we add a year of professional development so that students coming out of our program are not only have the training and the skills, but they understand how to navigate the industry. So our acting students, for example, one semester will learn how to pick the right type of audition material that best suits them, meet with casting directors, agents, learn about headshots, learn about how to land an audition. And then in their senior year, they will put together a demo reel that we send out to all these different casting agencies. And our students are already getting calls for auditions before they graduate, as opposed to the schools I've been in the past where you've got the skills, but then you have to start learning the networking portion of it.
That's super cool. On that note, I think on the thinking kind of earlier on, right, I'm sure there's sometimes you have a parent in your office that's like, is my kid really going to get a job after graduation if they go in the theater field, right? And they need help kind of understanding the trajectory. And what you just shared, I think, is so interesting and valuable. How do you talk to families about their students being in the theater?
The easy answer is very honestly. It is a difficult business. It is not a business where you're going to come out like we just started an entertainment engineering degree, which hopefully we can talk a little bit about later, where you're coming out guaranteed a job. Most theater students are going to come out, and I'm very honest, you're going to have a second job until you kind of make the connections and work up to it. But our students are doing well. Over the last 5 years, every single one of my junior or senior production students have had a paid internship over the summer, and every single one of them over the last 5 years have had a job within the theater within 3 months.
Wow.
Our numbers are small, but 100% is 100%.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. Can you talk a little bit? You mentioned the engineering theater program. Can you give a little bit of background on that?
Yes. The background is I've been working on this degree for 13 years, and we're 2 months into
Ta-da!
it, so I'm very excited about it. It started with an old friend of mine who was working at Cirque du Soleil, and I started here at Bradley, and I was like, how can we partner together? And then it has developed over time. Entertainment engineering is the fastest growing field in the theater. The technology is moving faster than the training. And so starting salary right now is in the low six figures. I've been teaching for 25 years and I don't make six figures. And I'm thrilled that our students are doing that. But we're also one of the first 5 programs in the country that offer this new major. And we're the only one that's based in engineering and undergraduate only. So it's very exciting. I had a student intern this past summer who was on Broadway figuring out the engineering for the car from Back to the Future to fly around the theater.
That's
in
awesome.
Back to the Future, the musical on Broadway. So these are real internships. We have a class that goes out and studies with Cirque du Soleil backstage every other year. We'll be going this March. Taking 10 students, and we're very excited about. Before it was even announced, I had 5 majors ready to put their name on the major, so we have that, and we're working with a great marketing department here to really make people aware of what this even is. I mean, the industry is so new that people don't even know what that means, but this is, Cirque du Soleil, Disney. This is what flies pink around the arena without any ceiling.
Which is also like the coolest show.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
And she's apparently super fearless. They whatever the max the gear goes, she always says take it up 10% more.
Oh, well, that's a little terrifying, but that's somebody like an entertainment engineer that needs to know how to do that.
Yeah, and the reason
no, you can't do that.
You cannot do that. Pink.
But the reason why these positions pay so much, as a lighting designer, if I make a light cue that's not quite right, that moment may not look perfect. If an engineer makes a mistake, people die.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And again, there's so few people in this industry. The average person is working 80 to 90 hours out of necessity.
So to kind of transition really quick, Bradley's going to have a new show here coming pretty soon, right?
Yes, we're very excited. We are opening Into the Woods on November 7th.
I'm so excited.
I already have my tickets.
I know, it's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, get tickets quickly. They're gonna go quickly. We already have a sold out performance, so we only have 7 more to go. So
okay,
and
great.
they're filling out. We just had our fall break recently, and the stack of online tickets were we're huge. So
That's great.
we're very excited about it. This is also the first show with the entertainment engineering. So we have a 20-foot diameter, fully automated turntable that'll be a part of the show. And it's also the launch last spring of our new musical theater minor. So we decided in our department, if we're going to launch these two amazing new
Go big or go home.
Go big or go home. And so this is a production that is a university-wide production. With our faculty and staff and students, we're in the low 40s, and there are 75 people working on this show. So it is a university endeavor, and we're very excited. About half the cast are non-majors.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's one of the things that maybe is a little bit kind of unsung about your department is the opportunities that are open to all students on campus, and that they don't have to be, any one particular major. Obviously, we would love for them to be theater majors, but they can be any major and have that passion and get involved behind the scenes or in front of the scenes or on the stage. And I think that's really cool.
Absolutely. We encourage any student who has an interest in theater to stay involved. We can have you be involved in as little as an hour a week up to being the lead in
all the hours
of a major show. And that goes for productions. That also goes for classes. Until the senior year sequence, all of our classes are not major blocked. So any student could be involved with theater as much or as little as they would like to be.
I do want to go back to, you were talking about Into the Woods and how cool of a show bringing this to Bradley is. Can you give people some behind the scenes of how do shows get selected? We do a number of productions a year. Obviously, that depends on the year, I presume. But what goes into making the schedule for a year?
It's very challenging because there are so many masters that we need to serve. But obviously, the number one master is the education of our students. So we start with our senior class and what is the last few shows that they need, and then what do the juniors need to get ready for their senior year and down the line there. Obviously, ticket sales have to be something that we consider. But even more than that is variety of genres. So we want to have people, of our students and patrons, to see a musical, a Shakespeare, a modern play, a comedy, a tragedy, and kind of getting a rotation over what we consider a generation in a university campus of 4 years of the time of a student, as much variety as possible. And then the last major master that is near and dear to my heart is social awareness kind of things. We are on a university campus, so using the arts to better society and better the world that we are a part of, and to comment on things. So super proud of our production last spring of John Proctor as the villain, which was a strong Me Too movement piece that connected Arthur Miller to the Salem witch trials to the Me Too movement so brilliantly, and such important messages. We also did a Voices from Ukraine when the conflict started, which was all plays written by Ukrainian playwrights in Ukraine since the conflict started. And the most powerful one, surprisingly, was about 5 pets that the owners never came back from war. And there was something about taking it away from humans that made it more human.
Yeah.
And then all the proceeds for that was donated to the people of Ukraine.
So, Chad, what's something people may not know about you or your Bradley experience?
That's a hard one because I'm a pretty open book.
This is the answer from everybody lately.
What you see is what you get from me. I mean, I love the philosophy, if you always tell the truth, you don't have to remember what you said, kind of person. So I'm not sure how to quite answer that.
Okay.
Is there anything we learned about a bridge national champion on the show recently, or we've had a cowboy.
Yeah.
We've had what other so anything, even outside of work, maybe is there something, you have an interesting hobby or anything that people might not know?
I'm really into cycling. I got my first Century ride in last year.
Whoa.
So that was exciting. I have a tortured sports life. I'm a Mets, Jets, Knicks fan, so
that's
a
bummer.
Not something to brag about, but it is something unique.
I'm a White Sox fan,
Angie
it's fine.
barely watches a major league team, so
Right, yeah. So
That seems
my pain.
unfair, but fine. I live with 3 Chicago Cubs fans, so I think that's actually worse for my life.
It's painful.
As we kind of wrap up, one of the questions that we ask everybody on the show is, we talk a lot about what makes Bradley special, and people often talk about all of the other things and don't necessarily give themselves enough credit in their role in all of that. And so one of the things that we ask is, in your role in or outside the classroom, as a chair, whatever that looks like for you, what is it that you are unapologetically exceptional at?
I would say I don't take no easily. So when I'm passionate about something and want something to happen and I get a no, I will respectfully keep pushing and find that. And I think this entertainment engineering is a good example of that it was often thought of, there's no way you're going to be able to put this together at such a small school. And I was like, no, we can do it, and we can do it really well. And I think we're doing that.
That's awesome.
I think that perseverance is really important for your students. So that's great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is there anything you would like to share or add that maybe we didn't ask you or that you would want people to know?
I'm just going to plug the show one more time.
Yes,
please
do.
We open on the 7th and run 2 weekends, Friday through Sunday. For the first weekend, 7:30 curtains, 2 o'clock matinees on Sundays, and then we'll run through the 16th, ending on a matinee on that Sunday as well.
November 7th through the 16th.
That's right.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. We will get your title fixed on the website. And this is really just the coolest part of what we get to do. And I know I said that at the beginning, but getting to hear about what is happening every day on our campus for our faculty and for our students is why we are all here as a university. And so, as always, this is the Bradley University Podcast. If you'd like to come on the show, reach out. We would love to have you. And thank you, everybody, for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.